Hello, in this video I will try to explain the assignment in Unit 3, Activity 1. And before you try to complete this assignment, you should have already read the first 3 chapters of the book Animal Farm, and you should have already answered your chapter questions. So hopefully you've got a full understanding of the first 3 chapters. Now with that said, the assignment that you're going to complete and submit is called Animal Farm Real World Comparison. And so if we take a look, it says George Orwell wrote in the preface, so in the introduction, to one edition of Animal Farm, that the idea for the book came to him while watching a small boy whipping a giant cart horse traveling along a path. And this is the exact quote that he said. It struck me that if only such animals became aware of their strength, we should have no power over them, and that men exploit animals in much the same way as the rich exploit the poor. So he thought of the idea of Animal Farm because he saw humans abusing animals, and he thought that that was a perfect metaphor or a perfect comparison to how the rich and the powerful treat the poor. So in his mind, the way we mistreat animals is we mistreat animals in some of the exact same ways that we mistreat poor and working class people. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to download a document here called Animal Farm Real World Comparison Chart, and it's a Microsoft Word document. If you prefer, you can just copy and paste this chart right here because it's the exact same. If we open up the chart, it'll look in Microsoft Word, it'll look like this. Again, exact same as this one right here. And so what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to fill in the chart below in point form. You're not submitting this to me. This is for your own rough work here. So you can use point form. And it says, list ways Mr. Jones mistreats his animals in Animal Farm. So if you've read through chapter 1, 2, and 3, you should be able to come up with a pretty long list of ways that the farmer, Mr. Jones, mistreats the animals. Okay? And then what I'd like you to do is then list ways that the rich and powerful mistreat the poor and working class in the real world. You can do that in this second column right here. In this second column, I can think of a lot of different ways that the poor and the working class are mistreated in society, and so you can go in a lot of different directions, I would say. There's not necessarily a right and wrong answer to this. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of compare, or at least make lists of the ways that the animals are mistreated in the novel, and compare that to the ways the rich mistreat the poor. Okay. So once we've kind of got those ideas down on paper, we move down to the second part here, or the actual assignment. It says, do you agree with Orwell? Are there similarities between the way humans treat animals and the way the rich and powerful treat the poor and the working class? You could agree or disagree. If you might think that this is an unfair comparison. But George Orwell has based this entire book in a roundabout way on this idea. The way the animals are treated in the book is supposed to represent the way that the poor and working class are treated in the real world. And so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write a 10 to 12 sentence paragraph explaining your opinion. Provide at least 3 reasons supporting your opinion. So if you think that it is a fair comparison and that the way we treat animals and the way that Mr. Jones the farmer treats animals in the novel, in the novella, and the way that the powerful and the working class treat the poor the powerful and rich treat the poor and working class in real life. If you believe it's fair to compare those two ideas, then tell me yes and tell me 3 reasons why, 3 connections that you can draw between the two. If you think it's an unfair comparison, fair enough. Tell me why. Okay. Either way, give me specific examples from the first 3 chapters of the novella and from the real world to support your opinion and your points. And you can certainly use the ideas that you come up with from this chart to help you write your paragraph and to use as examples. And so just in general, to summarize the requirements or what you're trying to do here, you're going to write a 10 to 12 sentence paragraph You're going to have a topic sentence establishing your opinion on this question right here. You're going to have at least 3 supporting reasons. 3 should be fine. You shouldn't need 4 or 5. But if you have an extra one, you can certainly include it. You should have at least 3 specific examples from the first 3 chapters of Animal Farm and 3 examples from the real world. So if you have 3 reasons supporting your opinion, give me an example from the book and an example from the real world that supports each reason. You're going to have a concluding sentence summarizing your opinion, and as always, you're going to try to avoid spelling and grammar errors. This is the rubric that I will use to grade your assignment, so you can take a look at what I'll be looking at. I'll be looking at the examples that you provide from Animal Farm and from the real world. I'll be looking at your opinion and your supporting points. I will be looking at your language use and your grammar. And I'll be looking at your paragraph structure. And did you write me a proper paragraph? Once you're done your assignment, you can, as always, submit it to the Dropbox. And if you have any questions, please let me know.